Greetings, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Way of the Showman, where we view the world through the lens of showmanship. I am Captain Frodo, and I will be your host and gracious guide along the way. And I haven't said it yet this year on the podcast, for those who are listening when it is actually coming out and when it's happening. Happy New Year. We have just gone into the year 2023, and that's all very exciting. Last year a lot of people didn't have their best year, so maybe we will go from the lowest to the highest just by this arbitrary flip of the date. I hope so. Anyway, what I've just realized is that Buzzsprout, which is the place where I'm hosting all of my podcasts, they've done a sort of year in review, and I had a quick look at some of those things, and they usually divide a lot of their metrics on how many episodes that you have within the first week of the episode launching, because that kind of shows how many people are actively listening, really following along. And based on that metric, there we have the most downloaded episodes last year, and the number one is episode 41. Actually, there's a preponderance of episodes from in the 40s that came out. Something must have been peaking by then, maybe. But anyway, number 41 is A Year of Creation with Jay Gilligan, so a conversational episode. Second most downloaded in the first week that it came out is episode 40, Who is the Showman? This in-depth kind of exploration of who we are. And then episode 3 is episode 44, The One Who Faces the Other Way, which is, of course, is a very deeply important concept for me. And then episode 50 is number 4. Fourth most downloaded in the first week is Art or Entertainment. I remember that was it hit into some sort of group or something. It spiked a lot, and then on the 5th place it comes episode 55, which is A One-Man Circus, which is a great conversation that I had about creating a show together with Morgan James. So out of the 5 most downloaded episodes within the first week of coming down are 2 episodes of conversations, one with Jay Gilligan and one with Morgan James. And this is, of course, a format for podcasts that people love, and for those of you who are amongst those people who download it the week that it comes out, you will know that we have now gone into a conversational part, or a conversational season, or what do you call it? Because I'm still calling it a season 2, so I don't know how to divide these things up. But we are now having conversations on this podcast, and we will do so for another quite a few episodes, maybe 6 or 7 episodes coming. And while that is happening, I'm also writing out another thing I want to talk about. Another sort of long-form essays which will come, so we will resume the regularly scheduled monologues of me. But it is also a very interesting thing, of course, to hear some of the ideas that you might recognize, and some of the statements that I make in all the other episodes, to hear them kind of how they come to life in a conversation when you're dealing creatively in the moment with a conversation. So I've been listened to in 45 different countries, and topping those that list is the United States, followed by Australia and the United Kingdom. But then comes a dark horse, perhaps not so dark, since it's where I am residing. So then comes Norway, and then behind that Sweden. So that's the 5. And then the top city turns out to be Sydney in New South Wales, followed by Las Vegas, and then Brisbane. So 2 of the top cities are in Australia, and then the 4th one being Oslo. And this, according to their metrics at Buzzsprout, puts The Way of the Showman in the top 25% of most downloaded episodes on their server. So, yeah, that's that's some numbers that are interesting, perhaps, if you are interested in that kind of stuff. You know, one of the roots of all evil is, of course, to compare yourself with others. But when you are doing good, then I guess it is not so bad. So that brings me on to the second point of housekeeping, and that is that the Way of the Showman has now got their own little merch stall, and you can now buy with our logo on it, the Way of the Showman logo with the tent and a triangle eye, which of course might seem nice to anyone. It's a cool kind of esoteric, almost symbol, but for us who are fastidious listeners along the way of the Showman and interested in the deeper aspects of showmanship, we of course know that the symbol is not just a fancy drawing, but it's filled with deep meaning. So you can buy yourself a singlet or a women's t-shirt size, or you can buy yourself the Way of the Showman hoodie or a man-sized t-shirt. So I guess that's just size differences. But anyway, you can find it on thewayoftheshowman.printdrop.com.au, but I'll put a link in the notes of this thing. And it only went online a couple of days ago, so it's very encouraging to see that a bunch of you have already bought it. And it thrills me more than you could possibly know that there are people out there who would like to walk around with the podcast on their chest. It kind of, to me, signals that we are prepared for a deeper conversation about what we do. We are in it for the long haul, and we're interested in exploring the foundations and depths of what it is that we do. So, anyway, we have thus far been having a couple of conversations with Jay Gilligan, who, of course, has turned out to be the number one guest on this podcast, but we're now about to introduce you to another excellent fella, a beautiful performer, great all-round showman, beautiful family man, and here we touch on many interesting topics. It will all lead towards a project and exploration that Gareth has during long drives, as you will hear, where he has been trying to boil down comedy into some sort of schematic, or into some ingredients, as he calls them, so we can boil up a good pot of comedy. Can we see some parallels between jokes and then use this? So today we are going to first meet Gareth and talk a little bit about who he is and some of the stuff that he does, and you'll get I listen back to a bunch of it now, and he really is a wonderful Australian fella, and we get to touch on some great things about family, about what to do, or approaches to what you can do when you are touring and you have a family. A great, very different one from me and Jay. So that's very interesting. So, and then as it turns out, this conversation went very long, so I've divided it up into 3. This is the part 1 where we introduce him. Then next episode we will look into the first sort of half of the ingredients of comedy, and then we will wrap it up in episode 3. So the next bit of the stretch along the Way of the Showman will be exploring comedy. So let's set out along the way.
I don't want to look at myself too much, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to do it. Yeah, I did cool shows with Trent and Rachel. You know Trent Arkley Smith?
Oh, yeah. Yes, that Trent. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a real fun show actually. It goes really well in the schools, and so it's good.
Yeah, what kind of show is it? Like the circus and obviously music. You playing the banjo and him and the mandolin or whatever.
Yeah, I play a bit of music in it. It's a show about this kid called Timmy. That's me, who hears music in his head all the time, and it affects his behaviour. And so the show shows him, and Trent and Rachel play the music, so they're the music in my head. And the show shows him getting ready for school in the morning. So I'm just in like a school uniform, and I like I wake up, I get dressed, make my breakfast, do my homework, do my music practice, brush my teeth, that type of stuff. Then it shows him like when the music is normal and he has a sort of normal day, and I incorporate a little bit of circus stuff into that morning routine. And then it shows him on a bad day when like the music is going bad and everything goes wrong and all the slapstick and all stuff like that. And then he's visited by a hooded figure in a dream, and who gives him a conductor's baton so he can control the music, and then he can just put on the exact music he wants, and he has an awesome day, and everything's like enhanced. That's where I do all the best tricks. Yeah, that's the whole show. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So I mean, it's got a kind of clowning approach to the acting or whatever, the storytelling, as opposed to, it's not like theater or like you are acting, but it's in your funny kind of way, normal.
Yeah, it's all, I don't speak in the show, and I'm dressed as a school child. So it's great fun. It's all physical and all working with like taboo.
Yeah.
It's really and I'm dressed as a kid, so all the kids are like, he's one of us. Great. Yeah. But then you're doing all the things that they're not allowed to do in school, and it's actually quite interesting. Like the things I'm doing aren't that outrageous sometimes, but the fact that I'm doing them in a school, dressed as a school child, just makes them go crazy sometimes, like.
Yeah. Like what's an example? I'm immediately thinking like picking your nose or squeezing a pimple. Like, is it because it's morning routine?
No, like the first thing I do in the day, every day, is get undressed. So I take my uniform off, and I'm wearing boxer shorts and a singlet. So for young kids, they go like Beatles crazy over that stuff. Like they really lose the plot. Then I bend over and scratch my bum and stuff, and they're just like, this is off chops, like you see in school. But that's what we were going, but that's not that outrageous, really, like compared to.
Yeah, well, you would think so, wouldn't you? But I don't know if it is also like this weird polarity between what's going on the internet with TikTok and all this sort of stuff, and it's like that weird adolescent thing and the hypersexualization of everything. Yet in the everyday, there's this sort of prudence or something that is happening as well. Like I was just watching did a circus festival just this weekend now in Oslo, and next to where we are, there is a statue, which is a fountain. So there's water going down over this kid. So there's a bronze statue of a child standing in the water. Yeah. And how many times, because my caravan was right next to that one, how many times little boys would go over and go, oh, you can see his doodle, and how excited they are of that. Like, it just made me go, oh, wow. It's like, is that such a big deal? It's like you hardly notice it. And to be fair, it was not a very impressive doodle. It was that was.
Yeah, you can't put a giant doodle on a statue, I'm pretty sure.
Nah, it's frowned upon, I guess. Or else it's like whoever they used as a model in all of the Greek period, they all had these flaccid little things.
Yeah. I agree. Like, it's also bizarre that, like, in the day and age where you can see any amazing skill you want on the internet, the really simple things still impress the hell out of people.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's testament to the fact that, like, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And people don't want to see you necessarily doing anything amazing. They just want to see you struggling to do something amazing, or either struggling or achieving it. Like, either one's good. They just don't want to see, like amazing skill over and over again is incredibly dull, actually.
Yeah. It's also, I guess it's there too, you know. Then when you think of like someone like Mr. Spin or whatever, I always thought of someone who got incredibly high skill yet has this incredible capacity for getting the audience enthused about whether he could do an 8-ball juggle or an 8-ball flash, whatever. Like it's because it's I think that's like one of those things where character, the character is to me the thing which you connect to. It's the emotional component of the thing. There is a certain abstract emotion that comes from being impressed of seeing somebody juggle 5 balls or whatever, but not really emotional. That's more like it's a different kind of thing. But the emotional thing comes from the person and character. When you're talking about writing, like story writing or plots or whatever, the character is kind of revealed when they meet some sort of struggle. So that's why clown, I think, connects so much. It's like you see, it's just a caricature with they're just going along in the thing and they're walking to work, and then but the moment when there's a bag of money lying on the street in front of them and what they now do, or there's a dead body or whatever, now you get to see what this person is actually like when there's a real situation or so maybe there's that thing of that where I feel like the live component, but when you film something or you see it on YouTube or whatever, that live interactive thing, you're here doing something and they are watching you, that ancient connection that comes from that, you can't substitute that with the internet, or with watching it on film, because the real event, like when I climb the cans on screen, you kind of, there's no sort of, you don't look at it and go, "Ooh, there was a wobble on that can," but in the show you can hear that they react to that because I am there. I could fall down on video. If I fall down, then it's like any other accident video on YouTube. You just go, "Oh, those," and mine will be less bad than some of that terrible stuff that's out there.
But if you fall over in the show, like they might actually have to help you.
It's
a bit more responsibilities in. Well, they can just, I think that's it's so true. And like what you said about with like them having to do something. When I very first come out in this show we're doing at the moment, I get introduced and I come out like I'm experiencing that for the first time as well, I suppose. And that the kids are instantly they're instantly engaged and endeared by that thing. As in, if I came out and was like took applause or like pretended, if it looked rehearsed at all, it wouldn't. I don't think it would have that same. The fact that you come out and experience that moment with them instantly connects people to that live experience. You know what I mean? Like it can't look too rehearsed as well. That's the other thing, can it?
You come kind of stumbling into it or without any fancy footwork or whatever. You just come in and then you're here and I am here. This thing I think is so important. There's many ways of doing it, but it's the same. I'm doing this festival on the weekend and I come out and I go out and I kind of immediately start to talk to them like as if before the show has started. Like you come out and I'm like, here I am. And anyway, you guys doing good? Did you guys have fun? Did you see things outside? All right. Great. Excellent. Now, my name is this, so that I try to come out and start to connect first before we go. And then it's like okay. Now, okay, we've chatted, but now I have to do the thing where I am, this is my show. And like, go, okay, so this here, this circle on the floor, this is my circus ring. And we're going to make this together. We're going to make this into Magic Circus. And I'm all about we do it together, to have this participatory aspect of it, like amp that up as much as you can. Because I think that's where to come in and immediately go, I see you. I see you are there and I am here.
Yeah.
And when somebody shouts something or somebody does something, this just happened. I'm not churning along with my thing, and then you're just sitting there like on a movie. If somebody says something or somebody comes in the beginning, it's kind of a good thing. There's always somebody who's late or there's something like that, and then I go, and now in the show I'm going to introduce this guy who's coming over here. And I'm like always looking for that little bit to go, and that it introduces this thing which when I'm doing school shows and all these, where I get peppered with questions, like they want to talk. So sometimes you have to go, okay, now we're gonna pause the questions now and we'll do some more questions later, because they ask all sorts of silly questions, which feels to me like they really see you as another person who's standing there who you can just chat to, and that it's a very informal setting.
Yeah, it's so true. Small talk is really important at the start of a show in the street theatre, isn't it? And I mean, in anything really, it's just a way of letting people know that it's real.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to find when I was doing music busking, I used to busk with the banjo. I still do, and when I first started, I'd like put on a hillbilly character and be like year-haring and wearing funny teeth and stuff. And some people thought that was funny, but sometimes people just cross to the other side of the road to stay away from me. This is too much. I don't want this guy. Like, I'm just trying to get my shopping. Hey, but now I've discovered if you just chat to people and make humorous small talk, it's perfect, because you actually enjoy it yourself as well. Real to you to like ask them how they're going or what they're doing. Like I'm always interested, and obviously for busking, as soon as someone's talked to you, then your chances of them giving you money are like drastically increased.
So I thought now that we've talked for a while already, I thought maybe I should just say who you are or whatever.
Sure.
Gareth Bjaaland, and you're the paterfamilias of the Pitt family circus. Lover of circus and cricket. I
haven't been into cricket as much in the last few years, but I'm definitely still a lover of it.
Well, anyway, we thought we could just say a couple of things, because it's always interesting for me to talk to other people who have been in the game for a long time and who have a family, and how that, because you have a very unique and inspiring way of having your family involved in the show, because we have the showman and we have the show, and then there is the man. And how does the man deal with the fact that they are you have a family? So tell us a little bit about your approach to what you do when you go on tour and what you do with your family.
Well, as you know, the whole family does the show, and the way that came about was pretty much just from like it being easier to use our first child in the show than find a babysitter, I think. And once I worked out you could balance kids and they liked it, and I can't remember if someone taught me to do that or how it actually started. I can't even remember. But that was how it started, was I would take Gwyn out of the audience when he was like just a babe in arms from Bronte, really. And then balance him and then give him back. I think that was the first thing. And then when we started doing shows together again, when like Bronte had recovered from giving birth and everything, which wasn't that long actually, after Gwyn, but then we just put him in the show because we were both doing the show, and so it made total sense. And it was just such a cool trick that I think I couldn't resist. And then once you have one child doing it, like the second one wants to do what the older child is doing. And Amelie, she was like, Gwyn was good. Like he could do. That's where I originally made up that routine. There's some cool footage that Hamish has of doing that routine with Gwyn, the original one, at Tony's Circus Festival in Tassie. And then Amelie, though, she was just like had perfect form since she was a baby, so she could do like heaps better tricks. And we would have Gwyn. How do we do it? We used to have Amelie at the start at that stage as a random baby from the audience, and then we'd put Gwyn in at the end in a suitcase. He'd come out of the suitcase. And then, but then at that stage we were still doing like the Tasmanian brother and sister act, and having the kid was like this incest joke at the end, which people did love, but I didn't really want to take the incest joke to the next level. Like I mean, maybe it'd be good. Like now I think you could, but you just don't want to be known necessarily for that, or so then we actually made the decision to go, oh no, we're just going to be a family circus, and we changed our name to the Pitts Family Circus. And that's where I suppose it started properly, was from doing that. And then once they've been doing it for have you frozen? Or are you just not moving? Oh no, you're frozen.
Crazy.
Scary.
Anyway, so you guys outgrew the incest thing and became a real family circus, acknowledging your true relationship and that this was not actually, you're not related by blood.
Yeah.
And then you became a family circus where the kids are actually part of the show. I mean, so the act with balancing one of the kids, that just got passed, that baton got kind of, that act got passed on from just as the smallest one got that role.
Yep, I did those same routine with all three kids. Some of the same, pretty much all the same gags, like turning them upside down and using them to pick up stuff, and a few other other things. They all did that until they were too tall. Till they're too tall and they start scraping on the ground a bit, and then you're like, no, you've got to start working a bit harder now.
Yeah, got to do another act. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's like you then got acts that you do together with Bronte, and then with each of the kids as well. Like there are acts and you should do a group kind of acro thing where you basically lift your whole family.
And we actually play as the family, which was the big difference. Like all the show is about a family trying to do a show together, rather than it being like a fictional situation. Even though it is a little bit, it is totally real, because you're trying to wrangle a family into doing a show. There's group acrobatic acts and acts with me and Bronte. I'm trying to. Bronte has solo acts. I don't really do any solo acts in the show. Oh no, I do sometimes, but at the moment I'm trying to get the kids to have solo acts as well, because what happened was I'd end up being in absolutely everything, and you just get too tired doing that much acrobatics over the show. But
I find that really interesting. It's like the show that I do over the summer here is a mix of some theater and real circus acts, but it's based on a story from a very, very, one of the most famous kid stories in Norway by a Norwegian author, one of the guys from that book becomes a circus director in the end of the book, but you never get to really see what he does. But this circus is what happens there. So there's characters that they know and love and whatever that are talking and have circus. And I am always, it's always difficult to introduce theater into a circus show.
Yeah.
But thing that I find that most reliably work is if the show that you create and the theater fits within the framework of we are actually doing a show.
Yeah.
So this is the circus, it's the characters. He has invited some of the characters into the thing. So the natural things that they talk about, it's like they have the chief of police, who's a very famous character people know about. So he is a bit of a bumbling kind of guy, so he doesn't know quite what he's doing. And then the show as a concept really worked. There are elements of theater, but they're all sort of related to the putting on of a show, which means you don't have that suspension of disbelief where like you come in and you go, "Ooh, it's cold here at the North Pole.
Yeah.
Juggle these snowballs." Then as soon as you do that, it can still work, but it's just more difficult then, or whatever. And you guys are doing that same thing by having the story, in quotation marks, of the show being a family that puts on a show. Now it is theatrical, and there are stuff that can be in there that is shtick that you always say, but it's still 100% real.
That's right. Yeah. And what I've discovered over the years was like going from actually it getting quite chaotic and frustrating, and then realizing the audience were just loving the fact of how chaotic it's getting and how frustrated I was getting, and going, "Oh, I need this chaos. I just have to have the right amount of it." And it's the best thing ever. Like it's it's so real. And now we have Ollie in the show, who is the youngest one, and you just see him poking his head out from the backdrop at different times in the show. Sometimes he off to the side playing and doing stuff. Or he'll like go into the audience and then be talking to some kids there, and it's great. I actively curate a little bit of that random family chaos now, because it makes it all families can relate to that. Running around, it's I have to tell him sometimes, like, "Oh, you can't," but even telling him that he shouldn't be there, like in the show, works just as well. Like,
it's like you seek authenticity in all that you do. The thing that makes the people really connect to what you do is that it feels authentic, that this is genuinely happening in this moment. Its character is revealed when you are faced with an obstacle that you have to overcome or solve or whatever, and a child misbehaving and reprimanding or guiding or whatever, like that child in front of everybody, that's just like, it's intimate and it's so real. Like it's such a real thing, and you need to do it in the right way, and you can show the audience and the adults your frustration with it, but have to put on the nice voice. There's so many dynamics in there that is just like, it's so endearing.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's pretty fun as well, actually, if you actually decide to have fun with it. Like, people always say before a show, have fun.
Yeah.
And it's almost an empty bit of encouragement in a way, because often we don't go out there having fun. We just want to get the show right. But I've come to say, like, have fun, and like actually do something that you find fun, like, or that you will find funny, or like actually actively try and make it fun for yourself. Is such a good, if you want to perform for a long time, especially, because otherwise it can either go so far the other way where you're like, you only feel as good as the last show you did. So, or I know I do often. So really trying to like actually have fun, and I have to remember, make it fun for the kids is.
Of course. Like if they don't like it, then and they are only as willing to do the show as the fun that they had in the last show. You curate a good experience for them, and they will want more of the show. and just and yeah, wow. No, but this is such a good point. I do it, and I keep what I'm telling myself, because I've just a couple of 2 weeks ago put out a whole bunch of new material that whenever I perform now, it's come in different things. But I basically have like 65 minutes of new material put together, and I've been doing it. And
Yep.
I have that same thing. It's like I don't call it having fun, but it's called I need to be in that moment, not just try to present the material as I have thought it should go, because I'm presenting material which is now I am aware that it is underbaked. There's a spine in here. All the magic trick just happens, but the fun and the discoveries I only find when I'm doing it again and again. So then to be in it and look for it, but it's a better way to express that is just to have fun, because having fun is an integral part of playing.
That's right.
Those things are connected to it. Like it's only play if it is fun, or else it twists into work. And part of the magic of what we do is to make work into play.
Yeah.
Playing with the audience and all of that. And the more I am behaving like I'm at work, and I just got to get this act done like this, then it stops being play, and the connections fall apart.
It's true. It takes the life out of it. If it's like that. Yeah,
that's interesting. And so I was what sparked our contact this time was that you have been thinking about jokes and structures of jokes, and have made an attempt at classifying them and whatever. So how did this occur to you to do this sort of division thing?
I think it actually...
It may be. It's like making a map of the types of jokes that there are.
Yeah. I think I used to say it to Tom sometimes, actually, working on his show, like, there's only 7 gags, and I sort of had a gut feeling that was the case, but I never really identified what they are, or I'd work out a few and then forget about it. And I think it was on a long car drive. I've talked about it a few times as well, also with my son Gwyn about that. But I just thought, I should try and, on long car drives, you often do that deep thinking because you're doing something else and you have time and not distracted by anything. So I must have been mulling it over in my head, and I just made that little voice memo that I sent to you, and I sent it to Tom as well. Tom didn't react at all. I think it was, he was like, he didn't react very much. But it was this is the same shit Gaz is always going on about. And then I talked about it more with a few people, and then I made another voice memo, which was like the 9 gags. Otherwise there was more, and then I was like, oh no, I think there's 11, but now I've got 12. But I think some of them I've been thinking about it more and could be boiled down a bit more. I've got a list of them.
Excellent.
I think for it to be an effective, it's an interesting thing. I think there's a few rules with something like this, and one of them is that it doesn't come with any guarantees that it's going to be funny. So in a way, it can be useful retrospectively to go, why was that funny? Because sometimes, you're like, I've got no idea why this is funny, but it is. Or you can use it to brainstorm, or you go, I need a gag for here. Like, what is the gag for here? That's my gut feeling, is that there's always a gag. There's always a gag. It's just working out the right one for that moment. And then sometimes it can be years, as you would know. Like, you've been doing a routine for years, and then you're like, that's it. Why didn't I see? Yes. It's the fish gag. I should have known that.
Yeah. It was so close all that time. It lies just as this possibility that when you do it, it feels like it has always been there or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, staring you in the face.
I guess you could also use it to, in us being novelty acts or whatever, like variety acts. It's like you want variety in your things. You can also look at your show with these jokes and you go, oh, I am doing many jokes of this type. I should perhaps change into something else.
That's right. Yeah. Or to expose, in our world, there's a lot of generic gags, and sometimes it can be used to like make, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. I think they're just one of those 12 jokes. There's nothing. In a way, it takes a lot of the like pressure off having to be original, because you realize, hang on, you want to be original. Of course we all do, but we all are original without even trying is really important to remember. Like, you'll never be exactly the same as someone else, no matter how hard you want to or try. So it can be useful to take those generic gags and go, oh, what actually is this? It's that. Of course, I can just change it to this, and that'll be much more in my character and work better.
I mean, it's also, I am, of course, the second season of my show, my Way of the Showman podcasting. I am exploring what showmanship is. And what I'm trying to explain what it is that I'm doing, then it's like showmanship is such a complex and territory. It's such a nebulous and difficult thing to grasp. But what I find is that when I boil it down, I have stuff that then relates to, it doesn't matter whether you're standing on stage telling jokes or you're doing juggling, because the fundamental process is the same. And I like to think of it as a process or as structures that are inherent in modes of relating between people. And then if I think of this as this sort of territory, then the idea of what the map is good. Because these jokes, when you make any kind of thing like this and you say, oh, there are 7 types of effects in magic or whatever, 10 or 12, the same thing, then there are myriads of things. So like this thing that we talked about, there's 7 plots. There's a famous book called The 7 Plots of Stories. And that when you look at that and you go, of course, nothing is quite that simple, but maps are supposed to be simple, and they are not the same as the territory. But because they are simple, it allows you to penetrate through all the bushes and the trees and go, oh, it's just, this is the actual shape of the terrain here. And I really, really resonate with that kind of thinking.
Yeah, so, definitely. It helps you to, if something feels, it helps you to like fix things that aren't working as well. I think it's a tool. They're essentially a tool.
It's a tool, and it improves your chance of understanding why something is working, which you already touched on. When you sort of you always, if you're in the moment, if you're trying to have fun and you're looking for new gags, and whether you just remember it or whether you have a GoPro or you record what you're saying, whatever means you do to at the end of the show when you're driving home and you go through it and you go, there's that. Why was that funny? Because that was very funny. How can I recreate it? Because we all hit on gags that we can't easily reproduce later on. Like it just brought the house down and got a standing ovation. And then by analyzing it, and the more you have these maps to kind of grasp it, then the better you can recreate it as well.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And rely less on I always remember being like frustrated when a show only seemed to work when you gave it your 100% raw energy, because that's too tiring to do all the time. You want your show to be strong enough that like at times you put everything into it, but other times you might have low energy or be performing in not ideal conditions, and you really want the show to work for you then, and you don't have to work for the show. So I think it helps in creating a show like that because it's it works because of the strength of the gags and the show.
I think of that as the material. It's like when the material and the structure of the show is there, you don't need the character, which is the third kind of element, to sell the material. And
that's
like you will still be the emotional connection, but sometimes it's like, I often think of it when I'm doing like particular types of corporate events where you go in and I'm doing physical comedy and I go, I'm so glad I've done this act 1,000 times or whatever, because when I come in and you get a tenth, if that, kind of response to what it is that you're doing, if you're doing brand new material and you're trying to sort of play with the audience and they are just sitting there like a wall of nothing, then you go, I am so glad I know this timing, because I can do it and actually feel like I'm bombing. And then you go out afterwards and it turns out you were just as funny as always. It's just they're at a conference and they're there and the boss is there and no one has been drinking and it's 12:45 in the morning and it's like the situation is not rife for high so in those moments it's great to have material and you go, I know that the structure of this thing, they will now feel a bit alienated, but by the time in the end when the chaos is done and I finally do it, the structure will work. It's like one of the 7 basic plots or whatever.
Yes,
as I said, it's like within magic, I have been using this, like that I have like production, vanishing, transformation, restoration, transportation, escapes, levitation or animation, penetration and prediction, I think there's something. But like, so that you can look at the show and you go, has there been any animation in the show? Has there been anything that moved of its own accord? It doesn't have to be that you levitated the thing, but an effect with the egg and then the necktie goes up and down, and that's just a gag on its own. But within the story of it, when that thing goes up and down, something is moving in the show, and it's very different than the rope becomes back together again. Which is a restoration. Or so to have these structures, and you can go, okay, well, hang on, what I do with newspaper and what I do with this rope, that's actually the same thing. It's a restoration effect. So this is somehow, unless you're doing the theme of restoration, and that you're deliberately going for that, then you are kind of repeating yourself. And then us who do sort of what we do can sometimes be called novelty or variety, or both. It's new, and you want it to be lots of different things, then you might steer away from those 2 effects, even though ripping a paper and cutting a rope is not initially thought of as the same thing.
So I suppose it's to create balance. What we all want is balance. As humans in general.
That's even better than just because we're not seeking variety just for variety's sake. We're seeking a balanced act which has that's a good word for it.
It's funny actually, like what came to mind was vegetables as well, because Bronte was telling me the other day that a friend of hers doing a permaculture course, and they're talking about like how we tend to eat all the same family of vegetables, which isn't good for us. Like
broccoli, the broccoli family, whatever that's called.
So that's right. We all eat way too much brassicas. So you've got to, I think it exists. A lot of these concepts exist in other areas as well.
She's doing is her friend doing the permaculture design course?
I think so, yeah. It's just a one, but something like that.
But this is a brilliant thing. And my friend Dennis Locke, you know Dennis Locke from the English Gents, and now doing a bubble act in Vegas. He was really into permaculture, and he sent me these videos. And anyway, I was reading just the introductory paper to one of those episodes, and of videos of lectures and whatever. And I thought, and there's just one of the episodes that I haven't made yet, of looking at the 12 principles of permaculture and looking at how to use that to create an act. Because I have got this long-winded thing, which I've already spoken about, of the act as an organism. that gets born and gets, so just you look at it as a living thing which just evolves and gets born, and when it's born it doesn't know what it is, it doesn't know or care whether it's a boy or a girl, it can't sit, can't stand, can't do nothing, and then as you do it, it gets stronger and stronger, and then it rebels at some point and wants to be more than what it was. Whatever, if you take all of that in, then I have looked at these principles of permaculture and gone, this is great for making a robust act. There's so many of those things. And it's true. If I cut the paper, if I rip the paper and then I cut the rope, then I got a lot of broccoli in my thing. Even though, like, what is the other things that are related to broccoli? And cauliflower and anyway, I can't remember. Some of them are less. It's like, is it even squash or like the? Or
there's like some greens, rocket. I looked up. It's radish and mustard. All radish and mustard things are in brassica as well. And I think the comedy things are the same. You actually find some of these are like super common, like almost every joke. And there's also some overlaps where one's like, you go, oh, that could be that one or that one.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe that one is that one, but no, that one needs its own category because sometimes it exists without that one by itself and still works. But other times they're like, well, that actually fits into a whole bunch of them. But I don't think that matters, but it's just...
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I also think with anything that's organic, as in anything to do with the life sciences or whatever, and this, what we're dealing with here, processes, it's bleeding over into each other because the map that we're making or the singling anything out as a part is a little bit artificial because it all is kind of part of a whole. Like, it's just language and what we find funny and whatever, so you can always argue as to what it is.
Yeah.
And you will always say that the map is not the same as the territory. It's always going to be more complicated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's complicated and whatever, but the map is to map out this territory of in a useful way, like, so that we can, and useful being the kind of point. It's like you use the word tool or whatever, like it becomes a tool that you can use to understand what it is, so that you're not just stabbing in the dark with your jokes, but you go, oh yeah, you give some structure and understanding of the territory. So should we delve into some of your
No, I'd love to.
Yes, as much as Gareth would love to dive into the categories and ingredients, we are going to hold off on doing that until next episode. We're leaving it hanging on that cliffhanger just as we're about to dive into the real meat of the conversation. Now you have the introduction, so we're going to do that. And it's just been excellent, as I said in the beginning of this thing, to see that people are supporting the podcast. Financially, the t-shirts is a little bit of a joke because these print-on-demand things, it's mainly, the money mainly goes to them. But for me, if you would buy one of those and wear it around, there could not be any other way that you could support the podcast more. The more people that are out there carrying the proud logo of this enterprise on their chest. I think most of the prints are on the chest at the moment, although we are working on getting a zippered hoodie as well that will have the print on the back. But that said, if you would be one of those that walk around with one of these, then that when the conversation turns to it, to say this is the way of the showman, this is the way, and I would be mighty happy. If you want to suggest anyone that I should talk to that you think would have something interesting to add to the conversation of deepening our understanding of circus or showmanship or jokes or whatever it might be, then please drop me a line at thewayoftheshowman@gmail.com. And that's all I'll say for today, so until next time, take care of yourself and those you love, and I hope to see you along the way.